Most business owners waste months creating fancy content that can get thousands of views, but end up generating zero sales. Meanwhile, my clients are building audiences that convert at 10 to 20 times the industry average, making them way more money with much less work. The difference? They're not trying to get views or subscribers. I've generated tens of millions of dollars using what I call the entrepreneur method, creating targeted content that speaks directly to your ideal clients instead of chasing views or trends. Let me show you why most entrepreneurs get content all wrong. You see, typically, they're modeling their favorite influencers, who ironically are actually broke most of the time. So this is going to be what I call the entrepreneur circle. Let me show you what most people do. This is one video, and let's say it gets about 1 million views, which is obviously really good, and everybody could aspire to that. The problem is that you have all of these little people right here, so these are all my beautiful little people that are watching this video. But out of the million people that are watching this video, you likely have maybe 1 or 2 people that you can actually monetize, especially if you have some kind of higher ticket offer and you're working with a very specific person. The only people that win on this million viewed video are going to be sponsors. It's going to be YouTube with AdSense, and you're going to be making 1/100th of what you could make with your own high ticket offer selling it through YouTube or your contents. So let's talk about the entrepreneur circle. So let's go over here, and here you're going to have, let's say, 500 views. So literally one tiny little fraction of what you have in this entrepreneur circle here. So we're just going to put a couple little people. These are my people, what they look like. But here, instead of just having 1% or 2% be qualified, you're going to have 40%, 50%, 60% of people actually be qualified and want to buy your products or services. Now, you're never going to have 100% of your audience, aka your viewers, be qualified to buy your products or services, but you can do specific things, which I'm going to talk about in this video, to make it so that the majority of your viewers are qualified versus just 1 or 2%, which is what most people do. And I practice what I'm preach. You can go on my YouTube channel and you're going to see videos that have failed in most people's eyes. They think that, oh, he doesn't know YouTube, or he doesn't know how to create content because his content never gets any views. It's so funny when I see people say stuff like that to me on YouTube or say stuff like that to me on Instagram, because it just lets me know that they, first of all, are never ever content creators themselves, okay? And so why should I even care what they're talking about? And second of all, they have no idea how much money I make from these little views. So I'll give you a quick example. I made this video about a month ago. It had about 1,000 views, which was actually really poor for the majority of the videos on my channel. The reason I had 1,000 views was because I was talking about quarterly meetings. Okay, so raise your hand here if you get all jazzed up about quarterly meetings. I would bet that nobody's raising their hand right now, maybe just me. And that's because quarterly meetings are not very exciting. They're not very sexy. And the percentage of people in the world that use quarterly meetings, it's going to be a very fraction of a percent. Let me give you an example. 4% of businesses ever make over $1 million a year in the United States. 4%. And you really shouldn't even be having quarterly meetings until you're making enough money that you have a team and that you're actually having a business that's having some momentum moving forward. And so let's say that's about $1 million. So that means that 4% of people in the United States are even qualified to potentially watch this video, let alone people that actually want to watch this video, because those people might want to watch other videos about marketing or sales, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm okay understanding that 0.00001% of the total population or audience that is qualified to watch this video is going to watch this video. I'm okay that it gets just 1,000 views, because I know for an absolute fact that we got a $40,000 high ticket client from this one video here, because every single link in my description I track, and I'm able to see where leads, calls, and sales are coming from. So I know that if I make a video here and only 1,000 people see it, but all 1,000 of those people need help with operations inside their business, and that's something that we help our clients with, then I know that it would be like me going and speaking in a room of a bunch of 1,000 business owners that are all making over $1 million a year and talking about what their biggest pain points are. I could almost guarantee close a couple of people from that audience, which is obviously what I did here. Which brings me up to something called the content spectrum. Now, I'll give credit where it's due. I think I first heard Alex Ramosi talk about this, but I kind of want to go a little bit deeper on it here. Because I think for years, especially most people that we know in this space, in the content creation space, that have been entrenched in here, actually a lot of the people that we might look up to or that you've been following for a while before this kind of shift to this entrepreneur model that you're seeing in the marketplace, they're mostly on this entertainment side over here. They're creating really, really broad, really, really wide content, and they're mostly trying to entertain the audiences, because to entertain or to be entertained is literally one of the easiest things that you can do, because everybody wants to be entertained. Even the worst person in the entire world probably watches, Friends at some point, or scrolls on Instagram, or does something to be entertained. It's just human nature, and that's where you kind of get the doom scrolling on Instagram or something like that. It's just so easy to just go one after the other, because you're quote unquote being entertained. So you can get a lot of views over here. This is where you're literally going to be making, let me walk up to these people in the street and ask them, how much is in your bank account, or let me do this, or whatever you need to do essentially to make it so that 99% of the people in the world are qualified to get this. And like we talked about before, you get a bunch of views, you get a bunch of interests, and this is how you might get sponsorships or brand deals. But, I have done sponsorships and brand deals, and I can tell you it's actually laughable when they ask me to make a video for them and they offer me the price that they're going to make, because it's, with all due respect, it is literally one tiny little fraction what I could get if I just make a video that's probably easier for me to make on something I want to make and get my high ticket clients that way. Okay. Now let's talk about the education side, right? That's the other side of the spectrum. And this is going to be where you're actually creating content that solves a very specific problem for a very specific type of person, aka that quarterly meeting video that I created. That was pure education. It wasn't like I was dancing around, jumping around. It wasn't like I had all these graphics on the screen. I was literally walking through a quarterly planning agenda, okay? That's snooze fest written all over it if I've ever heard that before. Yet, we get high-ticket clients from it because I am creating content that educates people, and content that educates people lets people know that I know what I'm talking about. It positions me as an authority. I've now solved one problem that they've had, or shown that I can solve that one problem, and so now they want to go deep with me and work with me further. And just to kind of illustrate this point home, let's go back and let's think about on Instagram. Just think about the last 10 videos that you watched. Name one creator out of those last 10 videos that you watched if you were on the Discover page just scrolling through reel to reel. Name one person. I couldn't even tell you one of them, and I did it like an hour and a half ago, okay? Because this is just entertainment. Anybody can do it. I'm just like, okay, let me watch this for 90 seconds. Next one. I have no idea who that is. However, if I look at somebody and either on Instagram or on YouTube, and I'm watching a more in-depth video, and they're actually teaching me something new, I'm learning something different that I didn't know before, almost guaranteed I'm going to know who this is. Even on the education side, I was learning some stuff about, I'm about to buy a second home, and I was learning some stuff about the area that I'm going to and some of the rules and requirements you have to have when you're buying a home in this area. And so I was watching this guy cover all of this real estate and property in that town. I watched maybe 5 or 6 different videos of him, and I know exactly who this person is, and I might end up reaching out to him to get some help about buying this second house, right? So it has nothing to do with business. It has nothing to do with making money. It's just me buying this property. But because I didn't know, what are the setback regulations, what are the height regulations, how long would it take to build, blah, blah, blah. Because I didn't know that, I tried to look online for somebody who had the answer to that problem, and I knew exactly what that person's name is now. I know what they do, and I'm way more likely to reach out to them and work with them. So we want to be on the education side when we're creating our content. So we're trying to build this audience, and we know that we're not trying to get views. We know that we're trying to create content that actually solves problems. Well, Ravi, how do we do that in the first place? Well, this is something I call the content to cash pipeline. It's the simplest way that I found in order to create content that actually leads to sales, not content that just entertains. And I've done this for myself. I've done this for literally thousands of clients, and I'm even helping my fiance do this right now with her business as well. And so it's very simple. It's 3 steps. The first is going to be the offer. The second is going to be the topic, and the third is going to be the packaging. And let me kind of break these down into simpler terms for you. So the offer is very obvious, right? That's essentially, what are you offering in exchange for money? So what is the service or product that you're selling that someone's going to pay you money for in the first place? The vast majority of people that watch my videos, I know already have some sort of offer. You guys are already selling something to somebody. And if you don't, like even my fiance, when she was trying to figure her thing out, we were just figuring out what's a hole in the marketplace, what has really high margins, what could we very easily scale, scale, and we came up with something that's actually working very well for her. And so I first started, before she was like, oh, I want to create YouTube videos, I first started with, what do we think the offer is going to be about? Because that's going to determine what kind of videos that we create. So I know, for example, for my offer, we're essentially helping other companies scale, and that could be through ads, that could be through sales teams, setting teams, it could be through marketing systems, it could be through quarterly meetings, it could be through dashboards, KPIs, any of that stuff, offer refinement. And so I can create videos around those things, and those are known as topics, okay? So I can know, okay, when I'm working with clients, when I'm on sales calls, what are they talking about the majority of the time? What is the problems that they're having? You know, when I was going back to my fiance, I'm helping her create her YouTube videos. When we first started, we just launched the offer. She's been on, I think, 15 sales calls. She's closed 3 of them. And what I did when I first started creating content for her, or telling her what content to create, is I took all of those sales scripts and those transcripts that she was on, and I fed them into ChatGPT to figure out what were some of the commonalities that people were talking about, what were the pain points, what were the desires, what were some of the problems that they were trying to get solved, because that is essentially going to create our topics. Because if I know, for example, her matchmaking offer is something that we've landed on, and it's actually been really successful so far. If I know that most men are coming on there because they literally don't have time to create or to go on dates with women that, you know, aren't up to their standards. Or if I know, for example, that there is this overwhelming feeling in the entrepreneurial community that you can't, whenever you get a female or a partner, they are either like goo goo gaga and just are like, oh my God, you're so amazing, blah blah blah, and they don't kind of keep up to your level, or they are so much like another entrepreneur and they're so much in their masculine energy that you're not very like physically attracted to them. And so how do you find a woman that embodies this like feminine elements and supports you without being like goo goo eyes over you and using you for your money? And so we came up with something called the success paradox, and now she's going to make a video about the success paradox, talking about why entrepreneurs can't find any quote unquote good women or quote unquote traditional women. So now when we make that video, which you'll see come out in the next couple of days, it's going to attract entrepreneurs. If it says why entrepreneurs can't find any good women, and that I'm an entrepreneur and I've had that pain point, I'm going to click on that video, I'm going to watch it, I'm going to see her as an expertise, and she's going to say in the video, hey, by the way, I'm a matchmaker and I can help you find, she gets over 100 applications every single day from really, really amazing women that are looking to be matched with really, really amazing men. And so she's matching them together. And so she can say, hey, I'll do this totally for you. It's a white glove service. Go down below and book a call. And I guarantee you the first video we put up, she's going to get dozens of book calls from it. I already know it because I know the offer is really good. And I know that this is a huge pain point based on the sales calls that we're hearing that she's getting already from the offer. So that's how we're reverse engineering this content that we're creating. That's how we're reverse engineering this audience that we're creating. You know, she could make videos on anything. She could talk about, I'll give you a great example. I was studying competitors, and I saw one guy, and he was showing pretty much other guys how to essentially get laid, how to make her, like how to sleep with as many women as humanly possible, blah, blah, blah. And when I was looking at this, I'm not knocking that guy, whatever, you do what you want to do, but I realized that if I create that content, and he was getting hundreds of thousands of views per video. But I realized that if I made a video that was like, how to sleep with as many women as possible, that's not going to get the high caliber entrepreneur men that we want. That's not going to get the men that we want the women they eventually want to marry, essentially. And so I knew right then and there that I could get more views and quote unquote be more successful in the eyes of YouTube if I created this video that was like, how to sleep with as many women as possible, or how to invest as little as possible in your relationship and still get laid, or something like that. I get way more views, but it wouldn't be attracting the high caliber clientele that we want. So instead, we're taking the route of, why you can't find your dream woman. So that means it's going after people who are already looking for the dream woman. So I hope that really drives that point home. So that's the topics that we're talking about here. What are the things that you're going to say that if somebody sees that and they're going to be your qualified audience or your qualified avatar, and they're going to click on that video. And the final piece of it is going to be the packaging. I have a couple of videos that go deeper on packaging, so I won't go that deep in this video here, but packaging is essentially how do you package something up? How do you package up a topic so it's more digestible to the viewer? Meaning that if I just said something like, this is an extreme example, but I'll stay with my fiance. I can set you up with amazing women. That was the title of the video. Nobody would click on that. Or if I had the title say something like, you can't find a good woman because you're too busy. Like, it's just like, those aren't very exciting titles. Like, I'm almost giving it away inside the title itself. Like, there's no curiosity, there's no desire. I'm not going to click on that video when I see 400 other videos in my feed. However, if we mix it up a little bit and say why there are no traditional women, now it's like, oh wow, they're thinking in their mind already subconsciously that there are no traditional women. And so then they're going to be more likely to click on that video. The person that's going to click on that video is looking for a traditional woman, so they're the ideal avatar, and they're going to click on the video, and then we can frame it like there actually are traditional women, you're just looking for them in the wrong places, and that's why we have a matchmaking service, right? That's a really great example. Or another great idea of packaging it up would be like the success paradox, why entrepreneurs can't find great women. Okay, so these are, I'm creating naming mechanisms around it. I'm making it so that it's just way more appealing for somebody to click on it. If I give everything away in the title and I make the thumbnail very, very boring, then I might get a couple of views. And remember, we're not trying to index just for views, but if we know that the topic is about our offer, then we want to package it up to get as many views of those qualified people as possible. So that's what packaging is. Now, let me cover, lastly, a really important point that I hear when I talk about content creation. And I'm going to stay on my fiance because obviously we've been talking about her the whole time. You know, she's already started creating some content online, but some of the YouTube videos and things that she's creating are a little bit higher production, in my opinion. Like, there's multiple graphics and edits, and she's doing different locations. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I pretty much sat her down and I said, hey, baby, look, if you want this thing to work really well, from day one, we need to attract an audience that isn't just desperate for fast cuts and a lot of graphics and a lot of editing and a lot of music in the background. Because if you create that from the beginning, that's what people are going to want every single video that you put out. But instead, if we create super boring, super dry, basic videos like this, then we can still educate people, keep the expectation of the quality of the content, quality being the production value, low, but have the quality as in the value be very, very high. AKA, don't do something even for one day if you can't do it every day. So I was telling her, hey, look, we travel a lot. I know this wants to be something that you want to make sure it's simple for you. You want to have fun doing it. So let's not worry about making this high production content thing. Let's just make it as simple and easy as possible. And she's actually gonna make videos just like this with an iPad and drawing on it, because that's what I show my clients to do. And it works very, very, very well. So if I show you this little matrix here, on the x-axis, you have production value, which is how much work you put into the creation of the content. This is gonna be editing, this is gonna be music, this is going to be locations that you're in, the camera equipment, blah, blah, blah. And then you have conversion rate on the y-axis here. And this is how many viewers actually convert into high-ticket clients for you. And this is what I found very, very interesting. What most content creators, your favorite content creators out there, and you know, I'm going to try to say this in not an egotistical way, but I've worked with content creators on YouTube and Instagram that have literally 5 to 10 million subscribers or followers. So I've worked with people that are very, very, you know, famous in their niche, and they typically fall in this category here, where they have very high production value. It takes them literally weeks to create one piece of content, one YouTube video, one Instagram reel, whatever else it is, but their conversion rate is very, very low. Because once again, you're kind of going back to that spectrum. They're typically doing more entertainment. People are typically watching them because they're getting dopamine hits because it has all these edits and graphics, not because what they're talking about actually has weight to it, right? So this is where I see most content creators. This is where you really want to be if you want to be a entrepreneur, if you want to be a business owner that uses content to generate sales, not a business owner that hopefully generates maybe some sales from all of this content that they create. So over here, you have very low production value. So videos just like this that I can edit on my own and upload as soon as I'm done. It's not that fancy. It doesn't take a lot of work, but you have a much higher conversion rate, because people that are watching these videos, they're not here because I'm some hot girl. They're not here because I'm doing different camera angles every 3 seconds. They're not here because I have this $4 million studio that I'm filming all this stuff in. They're here because what I'm talking about resonates with them, and the stuff that I'm talking about is stuff that we help clients with inside of our offer, and thus I'm attracting attracting qualified viewers and a qualified audience that are going to convert at 10 to 20 times the rate of somebody who's over here creating very, very high production value videos, getting a lot of views, but a very low conversion rate. And I just want to kind of drive this point home with a little bit of proof because I try to do as many videos as possible. I said in the very beginning, we have a really extensive tracking software, and this is an example of what that tracking software looks like. You can see right here, this column says origin source, meaning the first place this lead ever found us was this source. And this column right here is income, meaning how much money we've made from that specific lead. And you can see I segregated this totally by YouTube organic. So these are all people that originally first found me on my YouTube channel. And look at this. Income is $40,000, $20,000, $20,000, $20,000, 15, 15, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 6. So these are literally huge, huge ticket price deals I'm getting from people finding me on YouTube originally. And so it's always so funny to me when someone says, oh, we'll give you a couple of $1,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 to make this video on this specific topic, which I know likely won't attract my qualified buyers. It's like, okay, I could do that, and now I have to make sure it's up to your standards, and I got to do all this research, blah, blah, blah. Or I could just make these boring basic videos like this that I really love to make, and I can be making $40,000 for every single video that I create. And it's not just me. I wanted to also share, this is another one of my clients. He serves restaurant groups, so he has a restaurant agency, and he became a client of ours a little bit ago. He was spending $90,000 a month on paid ads and doing, actually, they were doing around $650,000 a month in their agency. So they're doing very, very well, but they were seeing a lot of problems. Number one, they were too reliant on ads. Number two, their show-up rate was low. Their close rate was low, and so they wanted a different acquisition channel to complement their ads, and so we ended up working together to help install YouTube with their ads to complement them both together. And it's been a really awesome ride for them. Not only have they cut their advertising spend in half, so now they're spending $45,000 a month and still making that same $650,000 a month, still enrolling the same new amount of clients every single month, aka they're way more profitable without having to create so much ads. But the second thing is they're getting even more qualified people than they ever would from paid advertising. So he sent me this text message, said, P.S. I always like to share wins with you on the YouTube side. We're getting leads like this lately coming from our channel, 100% organic. And this is a restaurant group with 20 plus locations. So this is huge money for them because they can sign literally all 20 locations to their agency from one single lead. And that's the power of creating the right content. And that's even the power of organic content over paid ads. It's going to be very unlikely that this person that has 20 plus restaurants in the restaurant group would have just booked a call straight from an ad. But if they created really, really quality content that talks about the main pain points that that audience has, and that person organically finds that content, consumes the video, they're way more likely to book a call and then obviously purchase and become a high ticket client. So if you like this concept and you want my help installing this exact system inside of your business so that you can generate more calls, lower your costs per acquisition if you're running ads currently, increase your show rate, increase your close rate, and honestly make business just way more fun and have way more profit, then just go down below and click the first link there. You can book a call to speak with myself, one of our team members, and we can talk about how we can implement this in your business. See you guys in the next video.